I'm a fan.
Welcome to this week's edition of Tracking the Wolves with your voice of NSU Sports. Yep, that's me, Ben Root. Let's look back at another week of action for your Northern Wolves. Well, a solid weekend of sports for you Wolves fans. The senior slinger snagging a number of school records in Bemidji Saturday, and a 4-0 weekend on the hoops side of things as well. First up, NSU picked up their first ever win on the gridiron in Bemidji as they held on to beat the Beavers 48-41. Quarterback Jared Jacobson threw for 392 yards and 6 touchdowns, putting his name on a number of records at NSU. Jacobson tied the single game mark for touchdown passes in a single game at 6 there. He also tied the single season record for completions with 260 this year. He notched a new school record for total yardage in a season, a new school mark for total yardage in a career, and his 71 career passing touchdowns are a new record at NSU as well. Jared Hannigan and Nick Truan each hauled in 2 of those touchdown throws, and Zach Barber and Connor Doherty had the other 2. Rounding out the scoring for Northern, Channing Barber had a pick 6, running it back 91 yards for the score, and also with picks on the defensive side of things, Taylor Zemlicka and Matt Thorson, while Devin Olson was so good he picked up your Defensive Player of the Week award, finishing with 15 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks as well. Team ends their year at 8-3, most wins for Northern in 15 years. On the hardwood, Wolves went 4-0 on the opening weekend of the regular season. The women held both of their opponents under 50 points, notching victories in Wayne, Nebraska. Ladies took down Northwest Missouri State first, 73-49, and then followed it up with a 61-45 win over Nebraska Kearney. In that opening victory, Megan Muchler hit for 17 points. Rachel Krogman dropped in 14 to go with 9 boards and 5 dimes, and Paige Watashi connected for 10 tallies as well. Day 2, the team struggled a bit from the floor, shooting only 35%, but they forced the Lopers down to just a 29% field goal day, and they out-rebounded that squad by 10 as well. Sadie Stoltzberry led the team with 15. Krogman finished with 10 points and 8 rebounds. Meanwhile, the guys played in Sioux Falls at the Sanford Pentagon, won a couple tight games there. First, the Wolves edged Missouri Southern State University 74-69. Then they took down Pittsburgh State out of Kansas 75-68. In that first contest, 4 Northern players reached double-digit scoring as the guys shot 46% and put up 33 free throws. The only issue there, 61% hit rate there at the charity stripe. Carter Evans led the attack with 16 points and 7 boards, and Seth Bichon had comparable numbers there with 15 points and 8 rebounds. Sky Warwick and Spencer Pankonin each sunk 13. Next day, Northern led by as many as 10 points the first half, but the Gorillas of Pittsburgh State would pound their chest back into the lead with under 3 to play. Mitch White, though, came through in the clutch, drawing a late charge against a strong Pitt State player, and DJ Pollard hit his free throws to give Northern the win. White dropped in a career-high 15. Bichon turned in a double-double at 12 points and a career-high 14 boards, and also with a dozen points were Warwick and Darren Paterka, while Pollard finished with 10 points, going 8 of 9 at the free throw line, all in the second half. The team shot 49% for the game, but again, just 62% of the free throw line in getting the W. Finally, the wrestling squad was in Mitchell over the weekend for the Dakota Wesleyan Open. Joe Gomez led the Northern team with a 3rd-place finish. Anthony Navarro wound up placing 6th. That's a check of last week's action for your Wolves. We'll talk more Northern sports in a moment right here on Tracking the Wolves.
NCAA championships are something special.
Filled with memories we will carry with us for the rest of our lives.
We ask that you cheer hard for your institutions.
Acting responsibly and courteously towards those around you.
In the spirit of sportsmanship, enjoy the game, and let's provide our student athletes, coaches, officials, and fellow fans the respect they deserve.
Welcome back here to Tracking the Wolves. Ben Roots alongside here, and we're talking basketball on this edition of Tracking the Wolves. And joining us here is junior for your Wolves squad, Spencer Pankonin joins us. How you doing, Spencer?
Good, doing good.
Well, you come in from Lakeville, Minnesota. What should we know about Lakeville to kind of fill us in on your town?
A lot of lakes. A lot of good summers I spent on the lakes. That's honestly about it.
Pretty much everybody has a boat there.
Everyone, yep. All my friends live on a lake.
It's not related to Farmville.
No.
Totally,
no.
There's no game involved. Whereabouts is that over in Minnesota anyways?
It's about 20 minutes south of Minneapolis.
Okay.
Right on 35 there.
Pretty small or?
It's pretty big. About like 160,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I just hadn't heard of it. And then you're near the big city, which is always good, about a half hour there. So
Yep.
that's pretty cool. How did you end up here in Aberdeen?
Well, Coach Sather and Coach Severett recruited me. They came to my high school games and came on a visit. I just loved it. Really felt at home, so committed right away.
And being in a pretty big, city there, it sounds like, were you playing in the top class of high school, or how is it kind of divided over there?
Yeah, it's a 5A, which is the highest class. So
Okay.
I did play some good competition, so I thought I was ready.
You redshirted after your freshman season. A lot of people, they come in and they redshirt right away, but you had to take that 1 year off. How did you kind of deal with the time off and not being able to play after you got kind of a taste of it?
It was tough, but I took advantage of it. Just kind of got in the weight room, got some weight on my body. Had to play freshman year because of some injuries, so I wasn't planning on doing that right when I came here, but I adjusted, and I think it worked out for the better.
Did you do a lot of tape study still and kind of all the normal stuff?
Yep,
or?
I did everything normal, all the film sessions, everything, just kind of learned, watched older players, kind of see how to react to different things. It was a good year for me, I think.
When you came in those first couple of years, was there somebody that kind of took you under their wings or that you studied with?
Yeah, Trent Zomer. He's from Australia, Melbourne, Australia. I looked up to him a lot. He kind of took me under his wing, I'd say, and I think he helped me out a lot with different aspects of the game.
It wasn't tough learning from an Aussie. You didn't have accent.
Yeah, it definitely took a while to get used to that.
But, a couple games in the books now this season, down at Sioux Falls, of course, this past weekend. How do you think the team played overall?
I think we played well. We played two really good teams with Southern Missouri and Pitt State. Really physical games, which I think was good for us. They pressured the ball, which I think we're going to see this year a lot. So I think it was really good for us, and I think we showed up.
Picked up a couple wins there and had to battle in both those games too, really.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We had a lot of little injuries here and there, but I think we made it through, and we're ready for this week.
I was going to say, early in the season, do you feel it a little bit more, or is it more that you feel tired or banged up later in the season because you've been kind of going through a whole year of it?
Well, like Coach always says, right now is the best our bodies are going to feel throughout the whole year. So we feel it now, but we know it's going to be worse later on, but we just got to fight through it. It's part of the game.
Talking to Spencer Pankonin here on Tracking the Wolves, and that first game Saturday, the victory over the Lions squad. You had a pretty big game there, scoring double digits, and for a big guy, it seemed like you were on the ground a lot there, diving after everything. Is it tough to be scrappy when you're 6'7"?
It is. I usually have a smaller guy guarding me there at the 4 spot, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. That's kind of how our team plays, scrappy.
Do you like, you had a couple 3 balls in that game, if I remember right. Do you prefer the outside game, or do you like banging in the paint?
I played in the paint most of my career, and so it was fun to come here and kind of adjust and be able to play the perimeter a little bit. I'd say I like the perimeter more now. Keeps
you from getting banged up too much.
Right.
Stay out there a little bit more.
Yeah.
Looking at the other teams that were down there at the Pentagon, of course, 4 NSIC teams, including our squad here, had Sioux Falls, Augustana, and Mankato. Anything stick out to you about those 3 teams down there?
They looked really good. Just watching, it's going to be definitely a tough year. I don't think there's one team that you can look at and say we got an easy win. Not even close. So it's going to be a tough year, but fun year.
Well, you're majoring in sports marketing and administration here in your junior season, and what have you enjoyed about that so far, and is it still fun to you going to classes?
Yeah, it's really fun. Professor Orr is a really good teacher. I like him a lot. It's fun going to different events around the city. I just got to learn a lot about Aberdeen actually through it, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Everything going all right in classes so far?
Yep, going good.
Good. As we wrap things up here with Spencer Pankonin on Tracking the Wolves, always like to ask what 3 books, CDs, or movies, if you have to go on a long trip, what would you kind of take to pass the time?
I'd say a long trip. I'd bring Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3. My favorite series by far.
You'd fit in with some of the football players.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for coming on.
Yep, no problem.
Spencer Pankonin there for your Northern Wolves basketball team as they get set for some activity this weekend. We'll talk more Northern sports in a moment here on Tracking the Wolves.
We know you want family-friendly sporting events.
Sporting events where you can be comfortable
and entertained in a positive environment. Watching great individuals and teams compete.
With commitment, effort, and good sportsmanship. That's what the Division II Game Environment Initiative is about.
Be a part of the excitement and find out why. These student athletes say with pride,
I chose
Division II.
Well, it's about that time again. Yep, you guessed it. Time to check the week ahead in Northern sports and finish off another episode of Tracking the Wolves. Coming up this Thursday, the Wolves wrestlers are heading right back down to Mitchell for Dakota Wesleyan University. This time a battle on the mats in a duel instead of the event that they just had there. Coming off on Friday, Northern women's basketball team is going to host Black Hills State University. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off, and of course that'll be on ESPN 1420 1071. Also Friday, your swim squad is going to visit Nebraska Kearney for an event down south in the pool, and the cross-country teams are heading back to Wayne, America. That's coming up Saturday for the NCAA Central Region Championships. And finally, wrap it up on Sunday, a doubleheader on Don Meyer Court in Sidewalks Arena. Women hoop it up against South Dakota School of Mines and Tech. That's a 1 o'clock tip-off. Guys will follow around 3 as they go up against Truman State. And of course, that as well will be on the airwaves. That's going to be on 9:30 KSDN, though, on Sunday, and all of it at ESPNaberdeen.com. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Tracking the Wolves. To stay up to date on the latest Northern sports notes, join me for another episode next week. And until then, as always, go Wolves.